Ready for mine.
Okay, welcome to the April 22nd ARPA committee meeting. Just to let everyone know, we are not doing a visual recording, only audio, as we are in the city services building today instead of City Hall due to early voting. And 2 o'clock, let's establish a quorum. Scott,
Here.
John,
Here.
Misha,
Yeah,
Troy,
Here.
and
Cindy.
Cindy. Yes, I'm here. Okay, thank you. And we did send out some minutes prior. The March 25th minutes were submitted by Scott. Scott, thank you.
Mhm.
2 changes we are going to make, I believe. Yeah, there's just 2 errors in the bottom that are left over from a different meeting, I think.
Mhm. My
And-
boss.
Yes, but one thing to note is we originally appointed Michelle McConnell, and that is accurate in the record. However, her name is actually Michelle Leonard. And so I just wanted to make that correction verbally, but we did appoint the McConnell, and her name is in fact Leonard. So,
Yeah, maiden name, not maiden name, but previous married.
yes. So do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so we have, our minutes are approved. The council did approve our amended ARPA plan that we have had here, that we approved. And there were no changes, no real discussion. So I just wanted to report that. One of the big issues today is the progress on the initial applications that we have received for the nonprofits. And right now, we have received 7. April 15th was the deadline, so we shouldn't be receiving any more. Now, if you recall, the first application was kind of like the initial to see if they should submit the second portion. And right now, the review is going through the 7 that have been received. We have gotten a chart back from one of the reviewers, but not all. So I didn't want to go through that yet until we have all 3 and can do averages and see
They're
where
all
we're at.
using that same form, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I will say that the request in total is about 1.2 million from the 7 requests. And I have not gone and looked at all of them to know what's involved in there. I didn't want to skew any biases that I might have. So I just wanted to let you guys know that that's what we're looking at right now. We had approved 500,000. And so we have more requests than funds available. So just wanted to let everyone know that. We do need to figure out how we're gonna handle who gets to apply for the second round, for the second application.
the 500 for this application, this money from.
There's total 500,000
Oh,
available.
Total.
And so and
Then
the application was in 2 parts. And so no funds are being expended till after the second part of the application is received. We did it this way so that if people didn't qualify, they didn't go through a bunch of extra work and to find out that they're not going to get anything. So that's again why we have the 2-part application. So what we need to decide is using the rubric, because we wanted to make this objective. Where's the cutoff for what we are considering in terms of that 15-point scale for the first part of that application? So again, there was 15 total points available.
And one of them, correct me if I'm wrong, Young Life did not submit all the required paperwork, is that correct? Which brought their score down quite a bit.
I believe so.
Do we want to go back? Is that an oversight? Do we want to give them a second chance, or we just take it as is and that's your score?
I mean, we did say in the application that those things were all required.
I get that. Do we want to give another chance or not?
I don't know, I mean, you guys can, we haven't said no to anything yet in terms of someone getting a second
I'm
chance.
probably okay with it. I think if we do that, then we're gonna open it up to anybody else who wants to apply. We should allow them also to.
Yeah, that's spot on. I mean, if we're gonna go, once you open the door,
That somebody else should be able to.
Well, no, here's the deal, I mean, they did they did put their application in.
It's missing some
It
information.
was just missing a piece of the information. If we open it up again, just to anyone who hasn't even submitted again, that would go against our deadline. Do you know what I mean? That's kind of two different things.
I'm just wondering if somebody didn't submit their information because they couldn't get all the information. And so then they thought, well, if I can't comply, then I'm not gonna submit it. I mean, maybe that didn't happen. I don't know. I'm just,
Yeah.
and again, I'm not opposed to having them
Yeah.
update their information. I'm just saying, if we do that.
Well, again, and I'm not entirely sure because I didn't review these. We're working.
This all the stuff here.
No, it's not. It was only one reviewer that made the comment
Yeah.
that this might be
yeah.
missing.
That's a fair
And so I don't want to base my decision
On
on
one.
one.
Yeah, no,
personal
that's,
review.
that's,
But we're assuming he didn't not see the document. I mean, I'm assuming everybody's gonna have that same analysis that something was missing. Because if I remember right, it's been a few days, he specifically said it was missing financials or something, I don't know. There's a piece that it was missing that everybody else had provided.
Mhm.
if
So-
we, when you're talking to this individual and they said that there was something missing.
Oh, I didn't talk to anyone. I mean, I'm
Oh.
staying out of it.
We're just
That's why
looking
we
at
have
the
our
spreadsheet.
reviewers. to
Okay.
That might stuff down.
Yeah, this was just in a comment from the reviewer.
Okay.
So I mean, I have no other information than that.
We could just play it out, see what everybody else says and then come back to it if we want to. I mean, I don't think we have to act today on it. I'd hate to see us, if it was an oversight, I mean, by the rules, they didn't do it, so we can be black or white and just say sorry, but based on the scores I'm seeing, it's probably gonna put them on the outside looking in, and do we want to give them a second chance if there was something that just was an oversight?
Was there anybody that we thought was gonna apply that didn't apply?
One that I know of for sure. And, but knowing what I know now, I don't know that they would have qualified.
Okay.
Or that they would have scored highly enough probably to be considered. But
Yeah,
I
that's
don't know
where-
that for sure.
Yeah, that's where I'd go back to the door being open again if we knew they were going to, but they didn't. And we're gonna give this group a second chance. But if they're not gonna qualify, it's a moot, it's moot.
Did somebody bring that with them? The spreadsheet?
The actual scoring?
I think John did.
Yeah,
I don't have it.
I got it. I got the
And
note.
again, that was only from one of our reviewers. And so
To me, my concern, we have only $500,000 to give it all this go through problem. I mean, all 7 applications.
Mhm.
We're gonna, I don't know each one, how much they requested. You're going by how many, 500,000, you're gonna give selected.
Well, ultimately, it's gonna be up to council how much each of them is gonna really get. I mean, it'll come from a recommendation from this group.
So that's how we kind of,
But and that's the thing, right now, we're not privy to know exactly what's in everyone's budget and whether we think that that's something that should be fundable or not. And we don't have the knowledge of having that second part of the application yet to know those things. But that's what we'll
we
understand more
also,
in the
that's the
second.
reason I
part.
asked, it kind of confirmed that we have this first installment, we get a 4.9 million, but if we're gonna get the second installment, it's money from May or June,
Mhm.
maybe you're gonna be budget another 500,000 to give a.
That isn't contemplated right now, but our committee
Yeah,
has
that's what
not
I'm
discussed that yet. But I
Okay.
don't know that that's been contemplated.
Okay, that's what I'm just trying to see how the picture with all these people probably want money,
Mhm.
Sure.
so how to accommodate what they need.
Mhm. There is a chance that certain applicants will receive some of what they requested, but not all. I'm just saying
I
that's,
think it's highly likely to be the case for most people.
yes. And so, I mean, I think that might be the way this is gonna play out.
Yeah.
Right now, we didn't know if we were gonna have, 5 applicants or 50 applicants. Honestly, I don't think we really understood.
I thought it'd be more than we had.
Yes.
I'm kind of relieved we don't have it done.
Well, and it almost, and I don't know if this is appropriate, but it almost leads me to believe that all applicants maybe should then be able to go for their second pass. If, again, using that rubric though, do we want to set the minimum to be considered knowing that we don't have all the reviewers back yet, to know what those numbers come out as, but we want to set it at maybe 5 out of 15, 8 out of 15, 10 out of 15, 12 out of 15.
Well, and if you look, and I'm gonna assume that everybody's gonna fall in line with Michael Good's the one that submitted it already. And all the scores are really close, 13 to 15,
Right.
except Young Life who's at 8. But if you add in the missing document, they probably would have been a 13. So the separation here is minimal between all of them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yes, we should set a minimum, but I'm not sure any of them are gonna fall below that unless we set it really high, like a 14 or something.
I would say if they submitted information, we can move them forward. I would say for Young Life, though, they need to submit the financial statements, because that's the only way we're gonna be able to figure out whether, because just because they submitted this information doesn't mean that they actually still qualify.
Right,
And I'm not saying Young Life does or doesn't,
I
right.
just don't know.
I don't know.
And maybe they don't keep their financials. And if that's the case, that's a showstopper.
Then they don't.
They don't qualify. Yeah, I agree. So maybe I agree with Troy, maybe we just, when we go that second round, they've got a second chance to submit that. And if they don't have it or don't do that, then they're out. And I think we set a minimum score, whatever we want to set it
Yeah.
at, but
Because I think that's why we put those different parameters, saying that they had to show us different things, you know, and if you can't show us that, I mean, or document that, then
How about this? And I don't know if you guys would agree with this approach. Granted, there's 15 total points available, but perhaps if you can reach 8, which would be slightly more than half, then we'll consider that second part of the application.
I think you still put it forward, and then that way you get, I mean, I know it's odd, but to say this, but like, even if they put something in, it's still go to the next level, and then we can still decide, well, hey, look, you know, you submitted one piece of paper, you know, you scored 2 points. You know, I mean, it's like, you really weren't serious about it, maybe, I don't know. I don't know. I hate to say what their circumstances are or aren't. And at this point, you're only 7, and you're right, if 8's at the bottom 1, then we're probably good anyways. Yeah.
Hmm.
But I don't know, I'd wait till we get the others.
To establish a minimum, I mean, in the rubric.
Yeah,
I just don't want to hold anybody up from submitting the second portion, because every time we wait again, that's holding
Oh, I
up the
gotcha.
process for someone to get money.
yeah.
yeah, okay, I'm good with that, that's fair. What you just said, I mean, if you want to say, okay, it's 8 for right now, and then, you know, we could change it, because we can, and then that way everybody can submit the second part. Somebody needs to.
What's the goal? What are you trying to achieve by
Right
saying
now,
that?
it is literally to see who gets to do the second part of the application, to get
Okay.
reviewed on the more,
And so to get to the second part of the application, and the financials haven't been submitted for one of the applicants, is that, would that stop them from getting to that second step? So then if it does, then we have to have it.
Yeah, I don't think it technically does,
Okay.
that's what I'm saying, maybe the next step though technically would.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
it does for the next step. So I think.
So you guys are saying in the
Respond and
first
say-
step, it wouldn't, it's not likely to keep them from getting to the second step.
Right, I don't think so.
I agree.
So,
But I think maybe what we do is we
Okay.
reach out to them and say, you qualify to move forward, but without this missing piece of information, you've got 0 chance of getting
Yeah,
dollars. So we just need to be honest with them. Maybe it was an oversight, maybe they don't have it. If they can't produce it,
does
I
that
don't
seem
want them wasting
reasonable,
more
Cindy?
time.
Does that seem reasonable?
it does to me.
Hey, correct me if I'm wrong, did we ask them for tax returns for their filings?
Trying to figure out how we structure that, let's see.
I don't remember that we did.
I
I don't think we did.
don't recall that, but I don't
You
think
must
I've
be
been at every
Westfield,
meeting.
Washington Township-based organization, provide direct services to underprivileged or disadvantaged, must be a registered 501c3, 501c, have endured negative economic impact, must report any other governmental, private, or charitable assistance received, must supply a COVID impact statement illustrating the connection, eligible uses of funds include blah, blah, blah. And then
So I don't think we did.
Okay.
we do say incomplete applications will not be considered.
But we didn't ask.
Submission of an initial or supplemental application does not guarantee funding.
Are we planning on, I mean, you planning on giving a what they request amount? I don't know what they request amount. It's, I mean, some, whatever company passed it there. So means, I mean, I noticed one company asking like a 300 some $1,000, and we got limited 500,000. Are you planning on what they request amount?
We're not even getting to that discussion
Oh.
yet, because the requests are gonna be viewed on the second part in
Okay.
terms of
Yeah.
what they are wanting that money in their budget for.
Okay.
The priorities in there, all those kind of things will be in that second portion. And again, this was just figuring out some basics if they should continue, so. So do we consider that an incomplete application is the question, I guess, if you want to get legal. Is Jake German on the phone?
Did it say in our thing that if something was missing, that it would be incomplete? I don't think we did. I think we just said you get points or we just said we get points for this. So you technically wouldn't even have to give a certain thing.
Jake,
That-
Hey,
do
Cindy.
you have any say on this?
Yeah, I agree with the sentiment. I would not, if you're going to take supplemental information from any of the 7 respondents, there were 7, correct? I think you
Yes.
said that, 7. That does not mean that you have to open it up broadly to people who did not respond in the first place. You can accept supplemental documentation if it helps clarify things. But it's more of a question of how do I say this? Treat one like you're going to treat all, if that makes sense, like equitable, in sort of balancing of the equity. So if somebody forgot information or supplemental information is needed or something like that, my recommendation would be if the group determines that they want to allow this entity, there is no requirement, and if you want to allow this entity to provide supplemental information, then it should be across the board to all 7 respondents.
I don't have reason to believe that we're missing anything from anyone else at this point.
Okay. So it
So-
would just be,
But Jay, so is it a complete application?
to answer that question, if the ARPA committee did not receive adequate information to make a determination on the application on whether they would qualify for these funds, then I'm sorry, the answer is no.
Thank you.
And if you're looking for justification otherwise, I don't know the will of the committee. I'm just saying that from legal's perspective, we set out that criteria because of the need to understand the information in order to grant out federal funds to nonprofits. So that was the reason behind it. So I mean, but the group can make a determination to go another way if interested, but that's why the complete application was requested.
I will say I'm not finding anything in the initial application that suggests that this missing would be an issue. And it goes back to when I look at our rubric and we go to the financial statements. I mean, you can't get 0 points for missing or incomplete submission. So, I mean, it's still, again, it's part of our rubric. Just because they didn't score on it doesn't necessarily kick them out.
I agree.
Would you agree with that, Jake?
I would, yeah. You don't have to, I mean, they don't have to be eliminated from contention based on missing information. It's a scoring system. I mean, I didn't see the application, but I mean, as long as they are, as long as you have proof that they are an actual functioning nonprofit, I think that is a threshold question.
Yeah, it was. We had those initial things called out. The following requirements must be met for consideration.
Yeah, yeah. So as long as they meet the threshold question, I think the rest of it is just impactful on their scoring.
Okay. Does anyone want to make a motion about actually having all applicants move forward if, say, they score more than 5? I don't know. I mean, again, we need to move on, and I want to be able to give us the objectiveness to say, okay, I don't want to wait to the next meeting to say, the reviews came back and on average, this is what people got, and now we have to wait again to our next meeting and stuff to figure out who moves forward when they could be working on getting that information in now.
Okay, I'll make a motion to. What, 8? Is that what you said?
Eight.
I think I actually said 5 this
Okay.
time.
I'm going to five.
Let's figure that a little more just in case.
Yeah.
Give us a little
I'll
buffer.
make a motion to see anything at a 5 above can move forward.
I'll second that.
Okay, so we have Troy made the motion, Scott seconded to move that applicants with a combined average score of over 5 on the first part of the application. Scott, are you writing this down for the
I'm
minute?
writing it down, so
Okay.
keep going.
Move that more than 5 points achieved on average from the 3 reviewers. First application review.
I emailed the guy from Young Life just now. The told her, said, hey, did you mean it? Did you accidentally forget to?
Get to submit their second portion of the application. And that way, if, well, okay, we have the motion. We need to make a vote.
Yes.
Okay, Troy,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Yes.
John, Misha,
Yes.
and me. Aye. Okay, that's all 5 of us. Vote for that. Okay, so I will be able to notify our reviewers to, when we do finally get the information, get that in, that would be the case. Now, again, that will be taken on an average of the 3 reviews.
That's the way
So,
I captured it, yep.
and again, because I don't know exactly when we're gonna get them all back, I like the flexibility of being able to do that, as long as everyone's okay with me doing that, letting them know.
Or they don't have, the reviewers don't have a deadline to finish the reviews.
At this time, they don't.
Shouldn't we do that? But back to your point, if we're gonna, push this forward, we should push them forward.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's a bit tricky because these people are all doing this kind of as a nicety on their spare time, so, but I realize that we do need to have it move forward, and luckily we have the one done, we just have the 2 others. Do you guys want me to put in?
Please, yeah,
Just
I
maybe
think
a
it's a-
friendly statement of
yeah.
non-for-profits are hurting and the quicker we can get.
Yeah,
this-
I think,
Instead of a formal motion, do we just want to make a request to the reviewers
Yes.
that they have them done by when?
because I think you said it earlier, Cindy, I mean, they're waiting on this month.
Right,
It's pretty easy to do.
Okay.
They've been waiting
there's only
long
2
enough.
people we need to contact, but now, what's that date?
When's our next meeting?
March, not
May.
March, May 20th.
No, in the next week,
Yep. So it sounds like to me.
in the next week.
And the next week, 1 week
Yep.
from now?
My guy is done pretty fast. There's a reason they can't get theirs done either. If they're not capable and we have backup names, we can always go to somebody else and put them on the committee. That's what I look at. I respect their time and they may be too busy, then they just need to step up.
So we'll ask them to be done with, do we want to give them until May 1st?
Good.
That gives them the weekend in case they're,
That's good.
okay. So we'll request from the other 2 reviewers that they complete those by May 1st, which then hopefully I would have the ability to average those and be able to let the applicants know that they can submit for their second portion at that time, as long as the committee's okay with me doing that.
Absolutely.
Okay. From there, we haven't really discussed what the deadlines would be for the second portion of the application.
That's gonna take more time,
Yes.
because now we're going through finances and things like that. That won't be so fast.
Well, and the reviewers are gonna be doing that, and then we will have to then, deal with that afterwards too.
What do you mean?
They'll be giving us the numbers, the rubric, just like they did with this
Yeah.
first one, but then it's ultimately gonna be up to us in council to figure out the exact amount per day.
Yeah.
And we'll take into account those rubric numbers to see how we should
I think by
prioritize
the end
this.
of May, everybody can get their information to us. We can do it first,
First meeting
council
in
meeting in
June.
June.
How many years back were you asking? 3?
That's it.
Just a P and L or?
Well, I mean, there's kind of a litany of things that, I mean, it's really not that hard. I mean, when I read it, I'm like, this is pretty easy.
Yeah.
I mean, man, if you have your information, you can throw this together in honestly about 3 hours and be done.
I'm just more concerned about reviewing it on our end. If somebody's going through, talk 3 years back P and L, it shouldn't take long at all.
Also, and for the city council, once we have everything done, put together a packet, we can use our copier or the city's copiers and just make packets, give them to everybody. Everybody will say yea or nay.
Because correct me if I'm wrong, we're just evaluating, we're not gonna give money to somebody that's upside down right now. And we're just making sure that they're a viable non-for-profit that's somewhat healthy.
It's just minimum criteria.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're not have to go into the weeds of their P and L, and, I mean, this should be a very quick scan, I would think. So, yeah, I don't think,
I plan on going through them and saying, hey, did they get other monies? Number one, did
Well-
they get PPP money?
Right.
And actually, frankly, I can even look that up online, right?
Right.
Did they get PPP money? Did they get this money? You know, I mean, did they get an EIDL loan? Because they actually could have technically. And then, I mean, what does their financials look like from year to year? I'm just gonna put it together myself and I'm gonna say, well, this person, let's just, for example, say this person got a PPP loan and they're actually made whole. They actually had no problems, they had no issues, they were made whole with everything else. Why should we give them additional money when the money was better used for the greater purpose of Westfield as opposed to something specific that somebody is just looking for something else? That's just my personal, but that's.
And keep in mind, we'll have the second set of rubric results that will really prioritize who we should be looking at for these dollars. So, that we did that for a reason. And again, if you remember, we added some extra points for serving the underprivileged, underrepresented, those kind of things. And so I really want to make sure that we focus on how we use that rubric so we can make it objective and
Yeah.
not subjective.
and just looking at some of those charities, they're gonna struggle with that piece. I don't know how they serve the underprivileged and things like that. So I think that second round will probably start putting some more separation between them than what the first round.
And what I said, just to caveat, it does, part of the ARPA funds were, established so people helping other people. It doesn't necessarily mean that they didn't get the money, but the context behind, and Jay can correct me if I'm wrong here, but the context behind the ARPA funds was to help those people that were hurt by COVID, not necessarily just so they can get another leg up.
Or services expanded because of COVID.
That's right.
I agree with that.
So, arguing with myself.
We're not trying to line their pockets with
Right,
a cushion for future years.
that's right.
And again, that should play out in the P and L.
That's right.
So administratively, going back to this whole process that we're in with them, we're gonna have the reviewers, finished by 5/1 on this first one. Anybody who gets more than 5, obviously, we're gonna ask them to submit the second, and we're gonna have those due by May.
Is it May 31st?
31st.
I don't know what day that is. And then I don't know when our first meeting is, city council, but that's plenty of time. It's probably,
6/13.
okay, so that's 12 days for everybody to review the package. And then we can have the open discussion in public about.
Well, wait, hold on, because if the second applications are due to the reviewers by May 31st,
Mhm.
they need time to review them.
Well,
So are we saying that
are we gonna have them do the reviewers do a second round of review though?
That's what the whole thing is. This is
Okay.
the additional submittal. Remember, there was two parts of this application process.
Yeah.
So they've only done the first one. They get the second one, and then they get the second part of the rubric.
And I
Then
told
they have
them
to
May
fill it.
15th, May 15th, and then May 30th, and let's move it.
So deadline of May 15th to get the second application in.
Yeah,
I think that's
I just
reasonable.
want to move it, move it forward.
So second applications due 5/15. So that really only gives them potentially, at the very least, 2 weeks to get that information in.
That's plenty.
They want to
And then we
money.
want to give the reviewers an extra 2 weeks to get that done, correct?
And we can always reach out to them now and say, it's likely you're moving forward. Here's the date you're gonna have. If you think that's tight, start working on it now because you're likely moving forward.
Right.
in the process.
And so we will have then the deadline for the reviewers to be completed with their reviews by May
May
31st.
31st. Yeah.
Okay.
And then that gets circulated to you guys.
Yeah.
Basically with a cover sheet.
Yeah.
Frankly,
Yeah.
right? I mean, when they get done, you're gonna get maybe a little bit of a stack, but it's got a cover sheet, which is this,
And John, maybe we can,
frankly.
the ARPA, we could meet that Friday, May 7th. I don't even know what day that is. Would it,
To do what?
just to go through what the second rubric, just so we have everything, so everybody, at least everybody in this committee is on the same page. You don't have to agree on everything, but just be on the same page that we all have all the information.
And we
Well,
don't
I
find
mean, we
anything
already
missing.
approved it, the second part.
No, I know, but I mean, just if there's any loose ends or something, I don't know. I have no idea. I'm just,
So, so the first meeting in June is the 13th, is that what you said, Joe? Yeah, so June 13th. So working backwards from that.
Yeah.
Right? We're at 31st.
Is when we get the
is
second
get
rubric
the
results.
second from the review committee.
Mhm.
Okay, so it seems like right in between there,
May 15th.
we should get together.
Yeah.
And,
I think
okay,
we need to
we
make a
checked all the,
recommendation to the
yeah,
council.
we checked all the boxes. We've kind of done the cursory and here, and then that's your part. Now, that's your new cover sheet.
Yeah. Yep.
Right, so we got an executive summary right there on top. Says, okay, this is where we are. Does that sound better? I like that.
So actually, that's in
I like that.
June, that's in June before the council meeting.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, yes.
Yeah, because
I'm
right
saying-
now, we just have a meeting on May 20th.
Right, so I'm saying that we split the difference between 31st and 13th, and where does that land us sometime,
Seven.
Well, we're really not gonna have any more information till May 31st.
So why don't we
That's
just
what I'm
push our
saying.
next meeting out to
Put the-
June?
Yeah, split the 31st and the 13th. What's the midpoint? On a Friday.
Friday is before that, June 10th.
June 3rd or 10th are the two
June
Fridays.
3rd or
Okay,
10th.
sounds like,
June
10th
10th.
you,
is too
you guys
close.
pick. Okay, June 3rd, it sounds like we have a winner.
June 3rd or 10th.
Say June 3rd?
What it sounds like.
You guys available June 3rd?
I will make myself available, yes.
Okay. So let us put in an ARPA
Yeah.
meeting, June 3rd, 2:00. And I'm hoping we'll be back at City Hall. Not barring anything else happening, we'll make those arrangements. And we still have the meeting scheduled for May 20th. Do we want to keep that one or do we want to? I don't know that we'll have anything.
That sounds redundant. I mean, to me, it sounds redundant.
no, I don't know what we need.
Okay. So
We don't need it.
Because you're gonna communicate all that to them, right? So- Or to the-
And then committee meet. June 3rd.
Do we have to make a motion and approve that, or?
I don't think so. Dave, do we need a motion to approve that?
The date,
That series of dates we just said?
date, no, just make sure we notice them appropriately.
I've got it captured, so we should be good.
You mean canceling our May meeting and adding June 3rd?
Yep.
Okay. We'll just consider that moving the meeting that was to happen. Okay,
Cindy,
yeah,
if it'd be okay, I have one item just to discuss with the group before, if now would be a good time.
of course.
Yeah, so we've been sort of in a wait and see mode on one issue that I did want to bring to the group's attention. So we had a conversation with the Treasury this week on sort of the standard allowance when a unit is selected or elected, the standard allowance for revenue loss. Um, in order to expend the full amount of the award on government services. We were kind of curious about how that should be reported and what category of ARPA funds. And so previously we had advised that if Westfield was going to retain projects eligible in other categories, there was a measure to ensure that the city didn't underreport or anything in the event. The Treasury's view was that government services was not intended to be a catch-all, but the Treasury came back and said that we can put now everything, all projects undertaken using ARPA funds into category 6.1 as a provision of government services. They finalized that this week. And so we have we drafted basically a second amendment to the ARPA plan, which lays out that exact language that we got from the Treasury this week. So I'll be sending that your way, Cindy, for your guys' review. I'll send it around to the committee. Maybe during our next committee, we can after you've had a chance to review, we could finalize and move forward on that amendment to put all of the expenditures into that one category, into 6.1.
Does that impact our reporting that's due at the end of the month?
Does not. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
With, to confirm that with the Dustin, we put it in the all our reports under the 6.1. But April 30th reports.
Okay. That's what
Yes.
you're talking about, right?
Yes. Yes.
I will address
And it
it.
does not impact the nonprofit grant program as well. Sorry, I just wanted to clarify that the structure of that program should stay the same.
So we still account for that separately? That's not under 6.1?
Yeah, so it might suggest that, you know, that we should, that change would be needed or anything, but it's not. Yeah, we would still categorize that as separate.
And premium pay? Is that still separated out or no? Is that?
Yeah, sorry, that's separate. Sorry, this is like project specific.
Okay, I'm slightly confused. Maybe it's because it's Friday, but.
That's okay. I actually typed up 2 documents, if it's okay, to explain this. So one is the actual ordinance, and number 2 is what actually has changed. So you all could read it, read the information yourselves. So if it's okay, Cindy, I'll send those around, and you can ask any questions you have. If it still doesn't make sense after reading the citations from the Treasury.
Okay, this sounds pretty much like it won't impact anything we're doing, and it's just more of a.
Okay. Like
the
accounting
compliance
feature.
is this language.
Yeah, compliance feature. Yep.
Okay. All right, well, we'll get that through council as you get it available to us.
Perfect.
Can it wait till we get our next disbursement, or do we need to do that now?
No, we can wait.
I'm just wondering,
Send it
I
around.
hate to put a bunch of ARPA stuff on all of our agendas, if we can
Of
like
course,
narrow it down. So
Of
we're doing
course.
more things at one time.
of course.
Cool. Well, thank you. And that leads us right. Are you done with that, Jake, or do you have anything else?
That's it for me.
Okay, cool. Well, Misha, I'm gonna hit you up now to give us some
Updates.
info on the reporting. Thank you
Okay.
so much for your efforts, by the way.
Okay, as I'm probably not everybody aware, but you are aware, I've been updating it mostly daily stuff. It's been working on this report to meet the deadline, April 30th. So working with the Dustin and the Department of the Treasury, I mean, they're having a lot of issues. So anyway, it's a complete done as Wednesday, 26th, Wednesday, what is that? I did April 20th, Wednesday, 4 o'clock, with them finally done. But it's since the Dustin is a conference, legal conference, and they are in the Denver. So I am not submitted, not certified yet until he review, final review when it's a Monday. And then we certified, and I was going to notify you guys everything, what status, what paper looks like. So like he was mentioned, or Dustin mentioned about we under, everything is lost, the first premium under the 6.1, the compliance reports under the that they call the project number. That one project for we premium. Second project we didn't spend. Second project we added in another legal fee, which is his legal fee.
Right.
So it's keep adding into the under the project compliance. And he's been helping me a lot. So we went through this long this thing, but we are under the $10 million. Then we are simplify like text, so we can find the simple. So we don't have to go through a 90-page to somebody has a more than $10 million thing. So we are the simplifier done. So it's at this point waiting for Dustin to review when he comes back Monday, and will be certified, will be submitted.
Awesome.
So we'll be let you know as soon as we're done, and I will copy to you all members status of the file and everything.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for all that. I know that it's been a bit of a rodeo trying to get.
Because it's the Department of the Treasury.
Yes, I know that it has been a little bit more effort in technical issues than anyone envisioned, so thank you, Misha. Appreciate it. And I think Rochelle has been helping you too, and
Oh, yeah, so he was because we couldn't get in, I couldn't get in, or Treasury office, and nobody can get in because under the mayor is the account administrator. Nobody can get in unless he is. I mean, I literally myself, my tax form, W-2 form last, my driver license, identification, I went through the interview with the Department of the Treasury. I literally face-to-face interview to get in, and they told me finally, you cannot get in because you're not a mayor. You're not an account manager. Okay, who's the account manager? We cannot tell you because you're not. So then all these things.
It was a goat rodeo. I mean, I'm just telling you, right, it was a goat rodeo.
in a way, though, you can imagine how much fraud and stuff is out there. So
Oh,
I
no,
can see
I-
where they have to do that, but
I get it. It's,
I'm not, literally, they have to interview me and everything done. But after done, and they say you have to contact who applied this first money, and then contact, then you find who is that, then we can change for you.
well, you know what? It's gonna be easier the next time.
That's right.
Don't you think? We at least have that to look forward to. Make sure you don't look happy with that. Thank you.
No, let me tell you, I couldn't do it without the Dustin's help. And they have a lot of legal terms that he had to do. I'm not a lawyer, so I cannot, I thought just to write it down my own way,
Yeah.
the broken English, they say, no, you have to do this the legal way.
See, but that's why we actually pay for legal
Oh, you have
consultants.
to
We
be
don't want to
specific.
pay them, no offense, Jake, but we don't really like paying you. So, but we realize sometimes it makes sense for us to do that.
Yeah, you have to use their legal terms, so
Yes. Well,
Okay.
at this point, we got that
yeah,
done.
Monday I will update. As soon as we are certified, ready to go, I will be updated. So we don't make sure we don't give back the money back to Department of the Treasury.
Exactly. And the sun is shining, and in terms of next meeting dates, we have our June 3rd one now, and we're canceling May 20th, adding the June 3rd, 2 o'clock, City Hall. Is there anybody who wants to do another meeting in addition to that, or are we gonna?
I think June 3rd's good.
Okay, we'll just settle on that one date then for now. And is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Sorry.
Okay. Scott, Troy, all those in favor?
Aye.
Uh,
Aye. All right, thank you, everybody.
And thank